I identify as lesbian.
My sexuality is I am gay.
I identify myself as a woman, but I was born as a man.
Identify as a lesbian.
As a gay man.
A lesbian.
Identify as lesbian.
Genderqueer or transmasculine.
I was in denial for a really long time. I always felt that I was different, and I know everyone is unique. In middle school, I think is really when it kind of hit me, because I went to an all-girls middle school and high school, and everyone was talking about crushes on boys, celebrities they liked, and I kind of would sit there and be I don't feel the same way, and nobody was talking about liking girls. So I just kept it to myself and pushed it to the back of my head. But sophomore year in high school is when a girl transferred to my school that was open about her sexuality and had a girlfriend. And then I started asking her questions about it, and so it that was the process of accepting it.
As a child, I always looked at guys more, but I never knew what it was. So I never technically came out till I was 16, my sophomore year.
It's around 5 or 6 years old. Before the whole transgender become popular, I already think, oh, actually I feel like I'm a woman but not a boy.
Pretty young. I think that my sort of relationship to my own gender identity has always been changing and fluid, and going through progressions. I was definitely raised on all of the boys' teams for sports, and didn't really have any female friends until I was probably in grad school. Definitely sort of have been living more along the masculine end of the spectrum.
I was probably about 11 or 12 when I thought I was something, but it wasn't until I got to college when I met other gay people that I had a name for what I was feeling that whole time.
There was a realization when I was 12 that I saw a video tape of myself. It was 84, a videotape of myself for the first time, and I saw myself running around kind of effeminately, and I knew something was different about me that day when I saw that video. But I didn't really know what gay was until many years later. I was probably in college. I was raised very Catholic. Right around college time, I think I was maybe 18, and I kind of realized I was gay. And then it was a couple more years until I actually accepted it.
It was my sophomore to junior year in high school that I realized I was a lesbian. Before then, I thought I was bisexual.
I don't know if there's necessarily an aha moment for me, but I think once I kind of realized, so to say, which I can't really pinpoint the exact moment again, it kind of made sense.
No, it was just I didn't really know. In middle school, I would just get butterflies around certain girls, and I didn't know that was a crush. It was just so different for me, and my friends talked about having that with guys, and I didn't, and so it just kept continuing. And then sophomore year, I talked to that girl that really helped me out, and then I came out when I was going into my junior year of high school. I was 15.
There was a moment when I knew I was gay because one time, before I even came out, I would hold girls' hands to hide myself to be in the closet. And in those moments, I knew something wasn't feeling right. So I questioned myself, and I did some research, and I found out who I really was. So
I don't think there's a definite moment suddenly I feel like I'm a woman. It's not like that. It's more I have the feeling that I am a woman, and then I am trying to understand why and what's happening, and then gradually the feeling become more and more intense, especially around puberty, when your body is starting to change, and then it become less and less coherent with what you are feeling. It almost feels like a struggle at a certain point, and then I
mean, not really. I remember, fighting with my parents who were trying to put me in dresses when I was a little kid, and then always, wearing a baseball uniform to everything because I thought that was the coolest. And I remember being little and being called boy more often than girl. And then middle school hit and it was kind of used as an insult or an epithet. And then high school rolled around and I just was thinking, well, you're all morons and I know me better than you know me, so I'm just going to be my own self.
I remember seeing girls at school holding hands and realizing that that was what I felt a lot of times, but I didn't know that that was something that I could do. So I was being around other people that were in same-sex relationships and realized that, like, oh wait, that's what I've really wanted, but didn't know how to go for it or ask for it.
Not a moment, but there was a definite, like, I always had girlfriends through high school and through college. The attraction just wasn't there. They ended up just being like my best friends. It was just kind of that physical attraction wasn't there. I'd have emotional attractions and we'd do everything together. But it wasn't until it was like probably early 20s when I just kind of clicked and like I am gay.
I guess I compared the female and males and everything because I was dating a guy at the time. I wasn't really getting butterflies, I guess you could say, like I would whenever I would look at a female, and it made me just really think. We broke up. I took time to myself for a few months, and then I just realized that the way I feel towards females, I never feel towards a male.
Again, it was like really scary, and I just kept it to myself, like was in really major denial about it. Yeah, it was definitely like a long process of accepting it and figuring out what it meant.
At the time, I knew it was wrong, or I thought it was wrong because that's what everybody made it seem like. So I wasn't really accepting of myself at first either until I learned to love myself.
I don't know, I just feel like I am not the same as other boys because I have always been in boys' school, and so I'm with a lot of boys. I feel like I am different from them.
I was really lucky to have a lot of friends that were different in their own ways. I mean, maybe not all of them were queer or genderqueer, but they all were interested in their own unique things, and I think we just sort of formed our own band of misfits.
I think at the time I was really scared because I knew that my family was really religious and I was conservative, and I was scared that they would disown me or that they wouldn't help me with college tuition anymore, or that I would just lose my family, and that my family meant a lot to me.
I was actually really scared. I remember, like I said, I was raised very Catholic, so my first instinct was to pray it away, and which sounds kind of silly, but that's what I did. I would pray to God and I am not Catholic now, but I would pray to God to take it away or like give me something else. I'd be like, well, and this just sounds terrible, but I would kind of barter with God or whatever, and say, if you want to break a leg, or that'll be, just to take it away, which is terrible. But that was where I was at the time. I was just kind of bartering because I wasn't ready to accept it.
I didn't really care, but I also did, if that makes sense. I knew I would be accepted no matter what I chose. Friend-wise, family-wise, I didn't know, which is what scared me. But it was just really confusing and stressing to figure out what I was, because I thought you had to know what you were at the time.
I think it was stressful for me only because I was worried about other people's reactions, which was unnecessarily so because I've been accepted very well in my community. But at the time, I think it was just stressful because I was navigating this completely new territory where I hadn't really ever considered that for myself.
Not until that sophomore year when I started talking to that girl, and then I talked to another girl that I'd known in elementary who had a girlfriend, and then that summer before junior year is when I found Tumblr, and that like really opened my eyes, and like because there's a huge LGBTQ community on there, and I felt like home, and I made all sorts of friends and talked to girls, and I would watch YouTube videos of like video collabs of like girls each week. There would be a different theme, and then each day there was a different girl talking about it. I was like, wow, they're out and happy. Like I could be like that. And then so I told my close friend Mia before school started junior year, and she was like, okay, cool. And she's actually bi, so I don't know why I didn't tell her earlier. And then she helped me come out to my mom, actually, which was really important. And then slowly throughout junior year, I started coming out to more friends, and it just kind of like went up from there.
I told a few friends, and family didn't. Like, I told my siblings, but my parents didn't know until, like I said, my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I came out to everybody, the world, basically.
I told my mother around 10 years ago for the first time, and I told her that, oh, actually, I want to be I'm thinking that maybe I will want to be a woman, but I haven't decided yet. And my mother said, okay, it's fine. If you decide to do it, just let me know. And then like nothing happened for 7 years. And then after I decided to start my hormone therapy, I told my mother, oh, I decided that I should start my therapy. And then she said like, it's fine. I respect your choice. And it's funny that, so I live here in the United States, and my mother is in Hong Kong. So I will fly back to Hong Kong from time to time to visit her. And then the second time I flew back to Hong Kong, my mother saw me, and then she said like, oh, you are so much happier now. And then like, I think you made the right choice. And I was so happy that she not only accepted me by respecting my choice, she really see that actually I'm making the right choice for myself.
So my friends always have taken things in stride and been like, why are you telling this? I mean, I kind of thought it was obvious. My family's pretty conservative. They're Tea Party Republicans, so I've only talked with my brother and my sister, whom I'm decently close to, and they've been super supportive. My parents, I figure they'll come around one day.
The first year of college, I had pretty much come out to myself, but I hadn't, besides a couple of my really close friends, I hadn't told anybody else. And then that summer, when I came home from college, I told I told my mom and my dad, and they told my sister. And then it was very slow coming out since then, but it was kind of slowly came out, I guess.
I did. When I moved to Portland from Wisconsin in 1997. I was 25, and that's when I decided to come out of the closet. Told everyone, my friends and family, and anyone that would listen.
I told my friends first, and the entire school knew, to the point where even the teachers were calling me a lesbian. And my parents didn't know until I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I went to my mother crying junior year, near the end of junior year, and I told her I was a lesbian, and she said, oh, well, we accept you. And then she told the family for me, and they all accepted me.
Yeah, I think I told my mom first. We were actually on vacation in New York City, and I cried when I told her, really late at night, and she was like, okay, so what? You still have to go to bed. Like, we're on vacation. We had a flight the next morning. It just wasn't a big deal for her at all. She's a super accepting person. She just said, okay, this is another part of you. I love you just the same. And she supported me so much throughout the whole process. Shortly thereafter, I came out to my friends during the next school year. So that was during the summer. During the school year of my 9th grade year, I came out to my friends. That was all received very well. Many of my friends identify as LGBTQIA plus themselves. So that was, I think, my coming out then made them realize it was safe for them to come out. So I think that was a really great thing.
For my siblings, I texted them. You know, I feel like if you're going to tell them certain weighty things, it sometimes helps to do it in face-to-face, but they're 3,000 miles away, and we see each other maybe once or twice a year, and we don't ever talk on the phone, so it seemed appropriate. And I mean, my brother was sort of like okay, you're telling me this. Why is this new? Is this different? And sort of like my friends. So good group of people. Them. And my sister, her response was a little more sort of rally the troops. She basically said, "Well, if mom and dad don't support you, forget about them. Like they're not even important. Like you just have to do you."
Most of them, I tried to do most of it face to face. But my parents were back in Wisconsin, so that was over the phone. But majority of like the friends and coworkers and stuff, it was face to face.
I told my mom while she was driving, and my dad actually, he knew something was bothering me, but he didn't want to bring it up. So he said, I'm going to write down on a sheet of paper what it is that's bothering you and stick it in my pocket. And when you're ready to talk about it, we can. And if I'm wrong, I'll give you $50. So I needed $50, and I was hoping he'd be wrong, but he was right.
I had this guy I really, really, really liked. His name was Steven Sapnarch, and he was a Marine in the Marine Corps. One day I decided, like, I don't care what anybody has to say. So I posted him on, like, social media saying, hey, this is my Man Crush Monday. I don't care what anybody has to say. And there we went.
Well, yeah, I told my mom on vacation, and I think I just told her, I was like, I think I'm gay. That was easy. With my friends, I think a couple of them knew, some of the closer friends knew, and they were like, Emily, are you gay? And I was like, yeah, I am.
My parents, there were some tears from my parents because they wanted grandkids from me, which is pretty normal. My older brother was very cool with it. I was really nervous about saying it, and then he was like, yeah, and was his reaction. My younger brother was cool with it too, and he turned out to be gay. He came out 4 years later. And then my sister, who is a cop in Wisconsin, she probably had the hardest time with it because she works in a very kind of male-driven environment. So she didn't believe me. She was like, "You're kidding, right?" She thought I was just being a smartass, and that wasn't the case. They eventually, and pretty quickly came around. And my parents, I'm really lucky to have a very supportive family who loved me no matter what.
I think for the most part, my friends were super supportive. Family was harder. I didn't get as much support from my family as I had hoped. And that made it really difficult. In particular, my sister and I had a really strained relationship. And it made it sad for me.
Yeah, they all reacted very positively. I think some of the most amazing experiences I've had was when I came out to a friend and they then came out to me, because it's always been really beautiful to have that kind of support with another person.
At first, it wasn't the most pleasurable thing because I did get beat up a few times. The males, it was kind of like a sexist battle. The males were fighting the girls because the girls were more accepting of me, but the males were like wanting to like beat me up. But everyone like talked it out, and like everything's good now. Like everyone's completely accepting of it.
My mom definitely was. It was emotional when I came out to her. We both were crying, and she was definitely like a little surprised, but very accepting. And it just took her like, I think with any parent, it just takes a little time to adjust to that, like, their child is going to have a different life. But she was very accepting, and like I was lucky I went to like a very liberal and progressive high school, so everyone was accepting. My friends were very cool about it, and so I've been one of the lucky people.
Because I had at that time a few coworkers that I was also telling because I was scheduled to get top surgery a couple weeks out in advance. So it sort of seemed like, well, I'm having this moderate surgery and it's associated with my gender identity. I should probably let a few people know. So it was sort of like a checking things off of a to-do list for me. Getting it out of the way is almost as like part of the surgery prep.
It was hard at first because I hadn't dated at all in high school or junior high. I never had boyfriends or girlfriends. And so I told them that I was bisexual. For me, that felt like it was safer because I had never been with a boy, so how would I know? Like, I'd never kissed a boy, I'd never dated. But I didn't realize that you didn't have to do those things to know that you were like gay. So so I told my parents I was bisexual because I thought it'd be easier for everybody. It felt better to get it out, but as soon as I said the words, I knew that that's not how I felt inside. I knew from that point that my primary relationships would be with girls, and I wasn't 100% comfortable in my own skin to be able to own that.
When I told them, I felt really scared, really nervous. I thought I was going to lose everybody that loved me because growing up in kind of a redneck town, it's a different story. But for the most part, like, Lawton's pretty accepting of people. It's just in the beginning it was hard.
For the most part, I feel, there's never, like, some, like, big weight that's been lifted off my shoulders. I think with my mom, I did feel that a little bit because I didn't tell her for, like, a couple weeks once I realized I was gay. But with everyone else, it's just kind of like, oh, yeah.
Big relief for me because I'd been holding it in for so long and just scared that anyone was going to figure it out. So it was just, I felt like I could finally be my true self.
A lot happier and like open to be myself and knowing, you know, there was nothing like wrong with me, and like there was actually quite a few other girls that came out junior year too, so I kind of like blended in, like it wasn't just like me coming out.
I feel very relieved. I know that my mother wouldn't dump me because I heard a lot of horror stories, and also like in Chinese culture we are even more conservative, so it can be very difficult. And I know some friends in Hong Kong where their families are less accepting, and it can be really, really, really difficult for them. But I'm lucky in a certain sense.
It's definitely a different feeling having verbalized something that's sort of complicated and shifting. I think it definitely created an opportunity to be more honest and vulnerable with people, because even though I do have that presentation that sort of precedes me, at the same time, speaking truth in words is this really complex and complicated thing that has a lot of power to it.
I felt much more relief. Going back to school my sophomore year, I felt like I could really be who I felt I was. I was much more open in classes, and I was much more open with my friends that I had made at school. My freshman year of college, I still felt like I was hiding something that I was still struggling with, and so my relationships weren't as strong as they could have been. So things for me definitely got much better.
After people knew, I felt confident. I felt like I don't even have to worry. I could be myself.
Relieved. Like all the stress was just lifted up. Yeah. It was great. I was really happy.
I think I felt fine. None of my relationships have changed with anybody, so I think I just feel the same.
That not to give up hope, because there's so many people out there that love you and accept who you are, and I'd really suggest going online. Like Tumblr really helped me so much. Like I don't think I would have come out when I did if I hadn't found Tumblr, because it was just such like a loving community and I felt part of something.
I think we all live only once, and the best way that one can do is to understand yourself and to fight for what you want to do and ignore all the other people.
For me, I would probably just say, embrace it. Dive headlong into feeling different and feeling weird, and just explore what that means to you. Figure out, I think that being different for me gave me an opportunity to figure out when I was 14, 15, 16, who I was as a person and what mattered to me and what things were significant and who I wanted to be in the world.
As a society, we've come a really long way and things are really great. But I think the piece that we forget is that sometimes it is still really scary for people to come out. And there are resources available for you. I went to lots of queer and questioning meetings on my own. I connected with faith groups that had LGBT groups there, so I could continue to understand my faith in relationship to my sexuality, because I knew that those things weren't mutually exclusive, but I just needed to find people who were willing to talk about it.
Be true to yourself, and there's at least one person out there that's going to accept you for who you are. So never be afraid to keep yourself hidden, because if you keep yourself hidden, you're never going to be happy.
So I just tell youth watching this video that it's super important to be true to who you are, and if that's on a small scale, then that's on a small scale, but I think it's super important that in everything that you're doing, that you are true to who you are, and that you love yourself, and that this is something that is super important. But I think one of the big realization points I've had for myself is that your sexual orientation, your gender identity, it isn't all that defines you, and it's a super important thing about you, clearly, but there's so much more to you. There's so many more things that make you so incredible and beautiful.
If there are any LGBT youth out there who haven't came out yet or are struggling to find out who they are, because it is always a struggle in our everyday lives to identify ourselves, the best advice I can give to them is don't stress yourself out. Take your time and, experiment with things, be safe about things. Always, keep your head up. Just look at yourself in the mirror and question yourself. Ask yourself questions like, is this who I am? Is this what I want to do? Is this what I like? You got to learn to be comfortable with stuff, because like that one saying goes, you're your biggest judge. And if you continue to put yourself down, you won't find yourself.
Well, to be true to yourself, to surround yourself with people who love and support you no matter what. Hopefully, now in this day and age, hopefully that includes their family. But if it's not, then to find people that will, because it's not a choice. It's not it's something we were born with. I was born this way.